Good morning, traders. It's Jeff with Simply Derivative. Happy Friday. It is November 9th, about 6:10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We got about 20 minutes before the market opens. We're taking a look at the ES here on a couple different time frames. We have the daily number one, and then number two, we have this 15-minute that we're on right now. We're going to change that. We'll get up to a 60 first. We're going to start with our bigger time frame analysis, and that's starting with the daily, kind of finding our levels, what and where the market has support and resistance, and then looking for some key data points as well that we're going to go over. So as you can see overnight, and really a continuation of yesterday, we put in some highs yesterday's overnight, and then sold off a little bit, and then the market retraced that during the day session, kind of stayed up at those highs, and then sold off. We came back down to this 27.95 area underneath 2800. Attempted to rally above that a couple times overnight, couldn't do that. You can see the wicks in here at this 2810 area, and then prices moved down and continued to move down. We have the 200-day and the 50-day down here, or the 50 weekly moving average and the 200-day moving average are down below about another 25 points. So not saying that we're going to get down there, but there is a possibility that we could at least retrace down to this 2780 area. And this is based on the 60-minute. The daily chart, this candle from 2 days ago, the origin of that area is down in this 2760 to 2740 area. That would be a nice pullback down under there. That's about 40 points, 30 points. We're already down 14, so that would put us down, over 1.5% on the day, potentially. So is that what we're in store for today? Not too sure, but let's find some levels and see what the market wants to do. All right. Let's see here. Let's go into this daily. We're going to find some levels or some pieces of information that we need to find. Let me take that off real quick. Okay. Zoom in a little bit here. So this was yesterday's candle. This is today's candle. Today we've had a low so far of 27.8950, right? So that's the overnight low. That's one piece of information that we need. Yesterday's low candle was right here, and the low was 95. So we're going to put that line in and highlight that area, right? Let's see the open. And this is just based on these daily candles here in TradeStation. The open is at 2804 right here, which would be the top of this candle. If I have a red candle, the open is at the top and the close is at the bottom. So the open is at 2804 for this particular daily candle, for today's daily candle. And then the previous close is going to be 2808.75. So that's this day, because that was yesterday. And you're finding the close, and that's the bottom of a red candle is the close. So there's the 2808.75. Put that in. So now we have the overnight low, yesterday's low, the open for today's candle, yesterday's close, and then we have, let's see, two more. We have the overnight high, and that has been 2811.25. Can't really see that, pretty close to it. There it is. And then again, yesterday's high, you just come to the wick, and we're about, oopsies, let's take a look here, 2818. Okay. 18. There we go. Those are the data points that we keep track of every single day. We also pay attention to when the market opens on the regular trading hours session as well. Price has a memory, and price tends to revert back to these areas, and so that's why we pay attention to them, because it can be signals and setups for us on different opportunities. So that's why we pay attention to these things, and we go over it first thing in the morning to kind of get a lay of the land where we're at, bigger picture. We basically came back all the way up to this swing high up here at 2820. Nice big down move. This thing produced about a 220 point move when we hit 2603 was the low of the swing low, and now we've bounced all the way back up to this point. You see that we're running into some selling pressure. That was shown to us yesterday, and now we're seeing a further move down away from this supply area with some selling pressure coming in. And so, like I said, the targets for us would be down here, much lower, below 2780, probably closer to 2760 would be ideal for either looking to get long and or getting out of shorts. And we have some bearish put positions on that we put on yesterday, but you know, in terms of a futures trade, we're going to look for that this morning. We're going to take our options trades off once we get closer to our targets. So, but for the high side, there's not much there. You'd have to go down to a smaller time frame and find possibly some levels on here to lean against for shorts or targets to get out of if you're long. The same could be said through here, but this candle had already been traded through behind it, and if there was really, you know, true demand at 2780, then we would never have gotten below 2780. So we did, and now we've retraced that entire move. So it's not really the same as this big open candle as this one is. Yes, there's trading behind this, but this hasn't been tested yet, and this has more recently been traded through. We went down, and now we're right back up and cut through this area. And so a short would be somewhere up here or above one of these smaller time frame zones. I know these are marked off, but we'd have to go down and see these. Realistically, the better zone is up here closer to 2900, up here at 2880. So the action on the ES is looking almost, I don't want to say exactly the same, but you know, it's very reminiscent of this down move, and you know, most down moves are going to be the same, just like most up moves. That's why we look at these chart patterns and identify them, because they can help us, you know, make decisions. So you have the big sell-off in February, a rally back up, and then it sells off. Another attempt at a rally up to get back at the highs. It can't. It falls down and retests the lows. This would be our first attempt up in here, up in here. So we're going to see a pullback, and then another rally, possibly taking out both of these highs, still staying within this big candle, and then retesting low lows. That's kind of what we're looking at here. If this holds, we're going to retest lower, bounce, and then further retest to the lows. That's kind of what we're looking for. Before ultimately on the retest of the lows, you know, it depends on what the time frame is. This could take a month, 2 months. You know, at that point, if we're retesting the lows again, we'll be at 2600 for the fourth or fifth time, dipping down there and using up all that demand. So if it comes back down here based on this move after a couple pullbacks and attempts to rally up, you know, this may not be an opportunity for a double bottom anymore, just because we've been here so many times. So that's about it, guys, on the daily. Let's go down to a smaller time frame and see what we can find for today's session. I'll bring this down to a 240 minute. We have a 60 minute right here. We still have about 15 minutes before the market opens. So that gives us some time to find some opportunities here. Let's see here. We have this 240 minute chart. And within that big green up candle that we were looking at, you can see that there are a couple different spots in here that would grab your eye for a spot for a target or an area of demand to get long. A couple different spots off of this 240-minute chart. Nothing exactly the greatest until you get down here at this 2700, 2697, and you have this uh, area in here that has not been touched yet. You see prices rally up out of here, big sell-off, came back close to hitting this area, couldn't get in there, touched the top of the wicks, and then proceeded to move up and make a really big move, about a 100-point move out of this area. So you got the wicks pointing down. It hasn't been tested yet. It's lower in price than buying up here. And so this would be a better opportunity, higher probability opportunity for us. We're not going to get down there today, but that's something to keep an eye on. These two areas have my attention today. These two particular areas on the ES. 2780 and then this 2760 down in here. Now there's a lot of wicks. There's a previous high right here, some indecision. If the move is strong enough to the downside, this is all just going to get cut through and probably get lower and closer to this 2750 area, but we don't want to ignore these because they're nice strong moves away. Very little trading at the area. Kind of the pattern that we're looking for as well. Rally up, pause, another move. Same thing, rally up, pause, rally up. And so with these big, strong, explosive candles on the 240-minute, these would be ideal to pay attention to, right? But let's go to this 60-minute and find some opportunities for day trades in here. Right off the bat, catches my eye is this drop and then a consolidation and then a further drop out. Basically what price is doing is making higher lows and lower highs and lower lows, excuse me. And this could potentially be an area where you see prices stall out, excuse me, and come back down lower. This was the origin of the move from 2 days ago down in here. And that corresponds with our 2780 area. Plus you have the 200-day and the 50 weekly moving average down below that. So these would be targets for shorts. This would be the opportunity for a short, just right off the bat in terms of what I'm seeing now. Other than that, you'd want to wait until it gets a little bit higher up here before pulling the trigger. But if we think that price is going to continue to sell off through the open, we have about 9 minutes left, and this may not be a bad idea for a shorting opportunity right here. Let's go down to a smaller time frame and see kind of what we're looking at. All the other markets real quick. Nasdaq down 63, Russell down 12, Dow down 124, bonds are up, gold's down 13 bucks, over 1%. Crude oil's down again, below 60 bucks. So crude has been getting whacked as of late, and you're really seeing this risk off. We'll see if that translates into the equity markets today. You have the VIX. Let's take a look and see where the VIX is at. VIX is at 17.4. It bounced out of a demand zone that we were looking at yesterday. Let's take a look here real quick at the VIX, VIX futures, that is. Let's see, let's go to the 4-hour just so it's easier to see. So we have this hammer candle out of this basing right here with this strong move up. You see prices for the VIX rallied up to 24 a couple times, sold off. Couldn't get down here quite yet. Rallied back up again, held this trend line, then finally broke the trend line, and we came back down into this area. And you can see we just touched the top of that and rallied up. We're going to see if we can move up higher. You have this trend line, this down trend line that got broken yesterday as well. So we'll see. We broke this bigger trend line. Now we're breaking this trend line. When you have a confluence of the VIX hitting a demand area or a supply area, you look to the ES and equity markets to see if it's in an opposing area. That'll give you a higher probability setup. What most people don't understand is the VIX is created through out of the money SPX option pricing. And so those two markets you can use together in confluence to find good opportunities because the fact that when the VIX starts to rally up, pricing for SPX options is going to start to go up. And that's typically indicative of people willing to pay more for the premium because in a lot of cases, prices are going to go down. SPYs, SPX, ES, you're going to see those move off, move down, and you'll see put premium prices go up, which is going to increase VIX as well. So good idea to pay attention to the VIX, just to keep an eye on it. Based on this 240 again, this 2802 area up here may be a better option for a short. We're on this 15-minute. Yeah, we got a couple areas up here above 2805 that we'd potentially take a look at for shorting opportunities. Right up in here, you have this pattern where we sold off, and then you have this continuation pattern where the move actually continued and really took off from down in here. So we're having some trouble down here back at the lows of yesterday. You can see that prices tried to rally back up and they couldn't. There's a little almost doji right in here. And now we're sitting right here. We're going to see if it wants to hold this bottom. If it wants to hold this bottom, we'll probably rally back up, like I said, closer to 2800, if not above that. And then if we can't get above that, or if we do get up there and then sell off, again, the targets are going to be lower. We're going to be looking at least 2785, 2780 as a target or a possible area for long, and then lower than that as well. Right now, you just got a bunch of chop going on right here. No real signal for us at the moment. Yeah, we need to get it up higher. Get it up higher before we take a look at it getting short. Yeah, this may not be a bad opportunity down here. It's just definitely going to be a little more aggressive. Definitely much more aggressive. Prices have already sold off from up here, and for us to go in and short after a move down has already happened doesn't lend to the highest probability setups. And so, we kind of wait to see how that forms and then go from there. Typically, whenever the market's going to move, it's going to have a retest opportunity. So don't feel like you have to chase these trades or you're going to miss out or whatever the case may be. There's always an opportunity to get back in. So we have about 4 minutes before market open. So we're going to look to sell up here above 2800, look to go long below 2780 area. That's the game plan for today. I could go down to a 5-minute. We don't really go down to 5 minutes, but yeah, it's just a lot of choppy noise in here. Just trying to hold this bottom in here. See this basing action. Let's see if we'll pop up. Okay. Getting ready here. We got a few minutes before the market opens. Like we talked about, we have some SPY positions on that we're going to want to take a look at here. 270 and a half, 280 and a half. 280 and a halves are our strikes for today. They expire today. Market's what, down 14. SPY will be, let's see, where's SPY? That's at 27.19. So we're up about $1 on this thing. So coming back into this gap origin, at least on SPY and SPX. If you go to the ES, you can see that as well. You just got to change the chart type. 2780 is the origin of the gap up, and so that's why we have our focus on that particular area. Bottom side of that wick, this first 60-minute candle is basically at 79.25. So if we get back down here, this would be an opportunity when you have a gap fill. Prices like to come back and either test the gap fill or slightly take it out and then move up higher, in this case since it's short, or we're pulling back, if you will. So let's take a look and kind of just wait until the market opens up and see what happens here. All right, here we go. Market's open. See if we want to push down lower, or we're going to hold this pivot low in the overnight. 27.8950 is the overnight low, so we're about 4 points higher than that right now. Push us down, push us down. Here we go. Go. Mm-hmm. 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 Dollar has stalled out. Came up to the 97 area and basically hit this top and then has pulled back. We'll see what that wants to do going forward. But this nice move has really crushed gold, at least today. Let's take a look at the VIX. VIX is selling off a little bit, which means the market should be popping up slightly. Let's see here. I'm getting some wicks. See if we can cut through all this. Is there any news that we're supposed to come out? I know we had some stuff at 5:30, PPI, all that good stuff. The wholesale trade, wholesale inventories, and then University of Michigan expectations and sentiment. That comes out at 7. So in about 26 minutes. Choppy, 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 choppy. Rates are back up towards our highs. We're at 3.22 on the 10-year. Last time we were up at this height in terms of rates, which was, let's see, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. A little slow this morning here. 5 minutes. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it's just staying above these two little pop-ups right in here for now. And we're not getting this explosive move out of there yet. You're seeing this pattern hold for now. We'll see if that wants to continue. You have a down move. You have a consolidation. Is that going to lend to a further down move? When you see these channels like that in the direction of the at least short-term trend. Let's see if we can get this pulled back down here. Yeah, it's trying to hold on in here. Get back up here. You see this on the 240, it's turning into a red candle. This thing is going to close, I think, at 7 o'clock, so we'll see what that does. Like I said, guys, we already have our position on, at least our option position on for the day. We have the 280.5 expire today. We picked them up for 99 bucks or 99 cents. They're at now $1.85. Trade is working out. We're up About 91% on these things right now. Let's get this push lower than the lows. Come in. Come in. It's coming down there. We're going to hold these. I think what just happened was it hit that other 5-minute right now. Yep, right in there. Basically the pivot low on the overnight. Back to the 60, and we're going to take a look at the regular trading hours. 280.5, we're up. Yeah, it's an 82 delta right now. There we go. There we go. Come on, move down. That's what we're looking for. So that short actually worked out in here. It was about 6 points worth of risk, 5 points worth of risk. 250 to 300 bucks per contract. A little high, but it is a 60-minute zone, and the opposing target is more than 15 points away at this point. So your risk to reward was pretty good, even if you had to take the 5 points worth of risk. Zoom in on this guy up here. There we go. There we go. Okay, there we go. If you have multiple positions, scaling out into a winning trade is always the best play to do it. So if you guys are short from up here, if you have multiple contracts and puts, whatever the case may be, you can look to possibly take this thing off, or at least take part of the position off, depending on where you got short from. Even if you got short from up here at 95.50, we're at 88, that's 7 points, it's 350 bucks on a one lot here in the ES, so it's not a bad trade. Down in the nitty gritty over here. Let's see if we can come down a little bit lower. Is there anything forming newly that we can take a look at and see? Now that we have this area in here that started the regular trading hour session, there's a chance for us to get back up into these wicks. If we get back up into these wicks, it would be a retest of the regular trading hour high, and that can typically produce some type of reaction. In this case, we're selling off here, so a retracement back up into this area after a rally would be a shorting opportunity up in here. With the thought process being that, we're not able to take out the highs, we're selling off, we're below yesterday's low, we're below the overnight low, so a retrace back up into the day session start would be a valid entry for a short. And now you can see we're really selling off. There we go. Getting a nice move out. Down 22 on the day. Still early in the session. We broke through that. We're coming back down into this area. A lot of indecision down in here. Lots of trading behind this area. We do have this hammer candle on the 15-minute at 83.25. That could potentially be a spot that it may want to bounce. And that's within that bigger zone. that we identified on the 240 minutes. So somewhere in here is potentially a long opportunity. Let's see how much further we can get down in. Let's bring a gap into the equation and see what that looks like. Yep, so we're coming back down to the origin of the gap. That was on the 7th. So that was Wednesday's move. Yeah. Gap up, we're coming right back into that zone. VIX rallying up. Let's check the cash. Cash doing the same thing. Cash is coming down back into this origin of the gap. That's SPX. Let's check SPYs. SPYs doing the same thing. Coming back down. See if we can get a little bit lower before we start to look for our longs. Come into the wicks on the 240 up here. The origin of this move is really down lower. So let's get another little push down if we can. 5 minute real quick. Crude selling off down 2%. Gold's down 1.5%. Bonds are up. Dow's down 160. Russell's down 16. Nasdaq down 90. S&P down 20. You can see here when you have this day session only that this is the top or the origin of the day session move down so far, and so a retracement back up into this area to retest the highs, just like you would retest the lows on the day session, presents an opportunity. You just got to wait for the right candles to form, and then that would be the signal. For us, we need to get this thing a little bit lower before we look for longs. First 15 minutes just got done trading. There's that candle. Day session only. Volume's kind of light today. It's only at 340,000. We've been seeing, and I say light, but you know, take it with a grain of salt because it's been better volume this past month in October with the higher volatility. But prior to that, the volume wasn't that great either. So um, it is Friday, but we'll see. We'll see if things start to pick up. We can go ahead and take it off. That's fine. Thing just stalled out. Come on now. Do something for us. Did my chart freeze? Yeah, my chart froze. Wondering why it's not moving. None of my charts are moving. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Shoot. Well, this isn't good. Let me see if I can refresh. Oh, perfect timing, huh? Guys, can you guys hear me? Is the broadcast still open? Oh boy. Okay. Sorry guys, we're having some technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on with my trade station right now. Let's move over to this. Move over to the SPY. We got a position that we're looking to get out of. See if we can get filled here. Needs to drop about 10 cents. I'm just wondering why my platform is frozen. Bummer. What a bummer. Um, all right. Let me close this thing down. Get this thing back up. We working now? Yes. What the heck was that about? Very odd, but we're okay. All right. That was really weird. Let's see here. Let's go back to what we were looking at. Yes. Regular trading hours. Only session here. Basically came back into that origin of the move. We're hitting the top portion of the wick here on this first hourly candle that was created on that gap up on Wednesday. So we're right back into that spot. Not quite fully into the zone yet, but it's trying to hold up in here. Wouldn't be surprised if we chopped around, today. Maybe a little bit lower, move up, sell off a little bit, but we have to contend with this gap. That's where we're at. And we actually have a gap to the upside too now. Okay. Just bear with me for a second, guys. I just gotta change something. Okay, should be fine. Just messing with some settings. Let's get this push lower. $84.75 is the low right now. Let's see if we can get back down there. We got, what, a point away? 2 points away? There we go. Come on now. Got 8 minutes and we got some more news coming out. Not a whole lot to do at the moment. like we want to head a little bit lower. There we go. Let's see if we can get a little bit of further push. Further push. Let's get into that zone on the 240 here. All right. At SPY's up 135%. It's a good trade. Bought again the 280.5s yesterday. They are currently going for what now? 240. Still have a position on. Looking to take that off here soon. We get into this area, that may be a spot to do it at. See if we can break these lows. Just trying to hold on as best as I can. Come back over. Yeah, there's that hammer candle. Clean this up a little bit. There's lots of wikis, lots of lines. Basically, right in here would be an ideal spot for a looking out for a reversal. So you're within the bigger zone here, right? And then you have the confluence of having a smaller time frame within that zone as well. So that's can produce the move. But yeah, I mean, we could take things off now if we need to. Nothing wrong with taking profit. You know, we had a nice down move, and so um, any put positions, any option positions, any short calls, short futures. You know, we've had what, basically a 24-point pullback from the highs of yesterday, a little more than that going into today. This may hold things up in terms of prices getting lower. Today we may trade into this and then just bounce around, and you could see possibly a rally back up to the 2800 area from this 2780 zone. So we're going to keep an eye on that and see it's kind of holding. It's trying to hold right now. Well, let's see what it wants to do. Now what has formed is basically a new zone to potentially lean against and sell. Although, again, you're selling after a down move that has already occurred. And so in terms of probabilities, excuse me, it's a much more aggressive style trade. It could work out. Any trade could work out. But, you know, it's just, does this meet your rules? Does this fit your criteria? Is the risk amount okay? This is less than 3 points, so you should be fine. So we'll look at 5-minute charts, but we don't trade off of them necessarily. We don't like to. They're not the highest of probabilities, but definitely want to pay attention to it just to see what's going on underneath the hood of this market, if you will. have some other movers today. What do we got going on? Rates just took a dump, pulling back a little bit here. Dollars rallying up. VIX looks like it wants to rally. Let's see if we can get that moving. That would translate into this selling off much more. And there she goes. Took out the low, hitting the top end of this range. Let's see if it wants to hold this now. We're going to wait and get our confirmation before we get in any position. We want to see, the candles form a certain way. We want them to be in a certain location. And if that's not there, then we're not going to take the trade. So, um, just because we have a zone identified, we need to wait for it to come in there and then kind of make the determination if we like the trade or not based on how it reacts to that level. Excuse me. Take a look at nat gas here for a second. That was on our radar. Come on. Yep. There goes nat gas rallying up. So we had a level here at nat gas at 29.30 up to 30, yeah, basically 30. And we have poked above that on today. Gap up again. Crude's getting whacked, so everybody's piling into nat gas, it looks like. Crude's down at 57.54. And nat gas is above $3. Typically, you see oil and crude and nat gas start to sell off this time of year. So, are we getting a nice pop up before we see a sell off? So flat. Yeah, it's right up into this area right here. You can see that this candle formation right here produced the gap down, and we've been below that ever since. We finally took out this gap down high right here that created this gap down move, and now we're back above that. We do have some higher levels up here that we can look to as well. God, this thing has just been destroyed. That's a lot of noise behind these levels, lots of trading behind it. Something much more clean would be above these levels. You're talking about the wicks on this guy up here. You're talking about like a candle close up in here. So there's definitely some opportunities for shorts. We're just trying to gauge how strong the natural gas market is at this point, just looking at the charts. So we're going to go over to nat gas itself and take a look real quick. Yikes. Let's remove that. And nat gas cleared this trend line, cleared this high that we've had on here for a while. And now we've broken above this high. We got this high to deal with that we're coming into right now. Let's take a look and see where we are relative to that. Oof, right there, we're in the wicks on this thing. We are in the wicks. So what we're going to do is we're getting pretty close to an area where we'd want to sell or buy some puts in either nat gas or in UNG. So what we can do is we're going to keep an eye on this and wait until we get in the zone or we see some sign of reversal. And then if that's the case, then we can go ahead and look at putting on a position. But right now, it's just moving up into our area, so we just have to be patient. SPX. 280.5, so at 230 right now. Came back into that zone again, sold off. You guys take a look and see, it's basically just retesting the low of the overnight low. And so it did that, and now it's pulling back a little bit again. Still think we're set to go a little bit lower here. But we never know with certainty, so we're just going to keep an eye on it and wait for our setups to occur. Cool. Cool. I don't know. We'll see if Fridays are a good day to do it or not. Need to do it a few times to see. Yep. I don't see anybody watching though. Don't see nobody. I mean, they've come and gone, but nobody at the moment. My internet keeps going in and out. Yeah, it's taking forever for things to load. Let's see. News-wise, Michigan sentiment came in basically in line with expectations. Wholesale trade is down. Wholesale inventories was up. Inflation right in line with what they've been expecting. So no real news out of the economic reports today. I'm just reading some news here, guys. Just wanted to see what was happening. Uh, Put your earnings last night as well. Yeah. It's trying to hold on here. Don't want to go down to a smaller time frame, but I must. Where is my? The Yikes! I don't know what's going on with this side. Having some technical difficulties here this morning. I guess, yeah. I can't even like minimize this thing. Frustrating. Give me a second. Over here choking to death. Sorry, guys. Yikes. So that area is still holding. That 10-minute area, that 5-minute area below the overnight low, 27.89.50 still holding. Got some buying pressure coming in. You can see that through the wicks here. Trying to support this thing up, and I believe that's based on this excuse me, jeez Louise, 240-minute chart. Now we're gonna make our way down, possibly. See if we can retest these lows. There it is. Moving on down. Let's check this out. That's not the greatest. There's not much. I mean, we have that hammer candle in there, and it's more of a location thing, guys, with bigger picture time frame than anything at this point, based on this 240-minute. Oops. Coming right back into this area, having a little pullback into this demand zone. Let's see if it wants to hold, and we'll move up higher. If not, like I said earlier, we're going to come back down at least to this 2760. All of this right in here isn't really counted as anything in terms of demand anymore, just because we've had price trade through it multiple times. And so a natural point for the market to think of the market and price as water trying to find the lowest point, right? And that's what, when water travels in any direction, it's usually it's finding the lowest point that it can get to and settle into. And so the markets work the same way. If you can picture, price coming down into pockets where water would quote unquote be settling, the lowest point possible. So that works on both the downside and the upside. It doesn't matter. When the market rallies up, it's just trying to find an area of sellers. When the market is pulling back, it's trying to find an area of buyers. So it's just what is the clearest path or least resistance to its path, and that's where we utilize candlesticks and chart patterns to find those opportunities based on what it looks like on a chart. So we've come down into this level, both on the 240 and the 15-minute. Came in, hit this hammer candle. It's stalling out right now, but it doesn't look the greatest in terms of holding power, if you will. But it's still early on in this trading day. So we'll see. We have about 4 minutes left on this candle before it closes. We're keeping our eyes down here closer to these moving averages. Would be better opportunities, but this may work. Go ahead and put an alert up here back at our open area for today's session, regular trading hours. Like we talked about earlier, this would be a retest up here if the market moved back up about 13 points. That'd put us at down only 13 with a retest of the open for regular trading hours is an opportunity for us. That's something that we just have to wait for and see if we can get back up there. I suspect we may want to get back down to this pivot low right here in this candle. You can see this candle came down and touched into that wick and rallied up. The next candle came down, touched the base of this candle and rallied up. So it's basically using all the orders down in here, but really hasn't come down below here. That may be a possibility. I would rather wait to see this thing get taken out and then look for the reversal. But we just gotta, play it by ear and let's see what happens. Bottom of the wicks on the 240 area would be 77. Only about 4 points worth of risk for a bounce out of there. That's not a bad little opportunity. You have this big explosive down candle. You have an indecision candle, and then potentially another big explosive down candle. Take you right into here. First target would be that overnight low area. Would be 2790. Realistically, this 2760 is much better. But no sense in analyzing whether a trade is going to work or not. And just if you see the opportunity, take it. If you have the opportunity, then take it. If there's no opportunity that meets your criteria, then you got to sit on your hands. And that's kind of where we're at right now. We're just in waiting mode. Coming on down. 280.5 puts now that we had are basically $3. We picked them up for $1 yesterday. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I know. I know. It's all good. Okay, VIX has popped up. We're at 1780 on the VIX. Let's see how this thing settles out here on the 10-minute. Got a few minutes before this candle closes. Looks like we're trying to hold above this 80 area. Yeah, you're getting this hammer candle in the 5-minute. This thing still has 3 minutes to close, so you're gonna have to wait. You should wait for candle closes, guys. If you're trading based on candlestick patterns and price action, excuse me, we need to wait to see the candles form, the areas form. Let the market show us before we get in. Quarter. Okay. Did we hit back at the lows? Yes, we did. So we're back at the gap up origin right now. This is an SPX, so the cash market of the ES. SPYs, same thing. Getting pretty close to the origin of this gap up area. Right in there. This thing is trying to bottom out. Gap fill would be 27.50 on SPYs. It would be 275 below this gap to this gap fill. That's another $2.67. That would put us down. That would put us down at like $5.50 on the day. About 2% drop in the SPYs. Not sure if we're going to get that today. We're down 1%, 1.5%, over 1.5%, close to 1 on the Dow. The Dow's been the strongest of the bunch as of late. Got about 30 seconds before this candle closes. And you see how it looked bullish for a little bit there. We had the hammer candle with the green. Looked like we want to base out and rally up higher as we get closer to this 20-minute marker at 7 o'clock. Things have already changed. So that's why you got to wait for candle closes to make moves. In some cases. Not all the time. Doji, basically a close at the close of the previous candle. We want to see it close above the previous candle's close. We're not seeing that. So let's see if we can still get this market to move down a little bit. We got about 10 minutes, guys, and then we got to take off. This will be it for the live stream today. Had a couple opportunities early on that we talked about and identified. A short up here, another short in here, and looking for longs in here, and possibly lower. So we're just waiting for these things to materialize. The two shorts worked out up here at the 2790, which was the overnight low, and then the open up in this congestion up here from this overnight trading back up towards 2800. So a couple opportunities. We have another one. We have two more higher than all of this trading, but that would take quite a bit of a rally to get us up there. At this point, it would be about a 25-point rally to get us up there. Pretty close to a flat day at that point. So not out of the realm of possibility, especially to finish this week out. Let's just keep an eye on it. Now, this candle may determine if we're going to hop on board here or going to wait further for a pullback. This thing pulls back, then we obviously are going to wait. This thing wants to rally up and close above this candle close, then there's a good chance that the market will bounce back up a little bit. Not seeing that quite yet, so we just have to be patient and wait. Buying the cash, trying to hold on here. See the VIX rallying up. Back to Wednesday's basically open and high area, which, no surprise, corresponds with the low area in the ES and SPX and SPYs. Right? So here's the high area that we're hitting on the VIX. And this is basically coinciding with this demand or low area in the ES. So just based on this alone, you'd want to sell VIX and buy S&P, but we've had a nice steady downtrend that we broke. Bigger picture supply areas on the equities. So that overrides this short-term 15-minute area because bigger picture, we have a chance to get up much higher in terms of the VIX, which would put this much lower on the S&P. So, we've had a really nice rally from the lows, about 220 points, and now we're seeing a little bit of a pullback, which is not out of the ordinary. So it's just, using market conditions to enhance your decision making, and the VIX is something that we can pay attention to do that. All right, this thing is rallying up a little bit now. Didn't quite get as low as we wanted below the 77.75 area, but it's holding right now. Let's see if it continues. Got this wick to deal with. If we can get over this wick, then you're going to head back up to this 27.88 area. Oops, not a 23-minute. I wanted to see a 2-minute. There it is. Just trying to put in this base. Take this little high out right here, and then you got free reign back up to 85. Rally back up into here, and then at that point, we'll see what it wants to do. If this gets taken out here, we're going to head back up closer to the 2800 area. That's 2786 to 2888 area in here. If this can't hold, then we're going to get back up to the beginning of the session, which is kind of what we've been waiting for with this retracement back up to the highs. Check on the other markets. VIX is up about 5%. S&P's down less than 1. Nasdaq down 1.5. Russell down 1.5. Dow down less than 1. Bonds are up. Gold's down. Crude's down. Back above 60 though. Flirting with 60 right now. Down 1%. There is no other news coming out today scheduled for economic reports or anything like that. So now it's really just a matter of how they want to finish the week out, kind of thing. Getting close to 7:30. Getting ready to get out of here, guys. We've been going for about an hour, hour and a half almost. Hope you guys are finding this valuable. Hopefully this helps with the analysis. If you guys are trading the E-minis, specifically the ES, it's just about recognizing where we're at, bigger picture, and then moving down to smaller time frames to find opportunities if need be. And really, it's just takes screen time, being in front of the computer, and being in front of the charts, being told what to look at what times, and then just repetition and practice over and over. And that's really what trading comes down to. It's just like any performance sport that you engage in. It's mostly mental, but there are key things that you need to look for and to pay attention to on a daily basis, and that's what makes or breaks it. Getting a nice little rally all the way back up there. get back up into those wicks. See, that's 87 up to 80. It's up to 90. Yeah. Guys, if you have any questions or concerns or anything like that, just feel free to put them in the chat or email me or email us at Simply Derivative. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Whether it's on the ES or options or any type of trading that you guys are doing, if you need some help, just let me know. Let us know. So to recap today, we're going to end here in a minute or so, but basically we saw the open early on. We were fighting in this congestion up in here, this overnight trading after putting in a down day yesterday, showing some wicks to the downside, and then it rallying back up um, to this high of 28.10, and then really just selling off, and we caught basically a 25 point move. Um, for us, we were using options. We put those on yesterday. The SPY 280 and a half that we took off today for about. We have multiple contracts, so you want to scale out into winners, but we were taking them off at 130%, all the way up to 160, 170%. So not bad trades for day trades using some options that only cost $1. So, um, that's one of the things that we like to do near or at expiration days. And that's the great thing about SPYs and SPX and the ES is they have multiple expirations each week, which allows us to have opportunities like this to buy some cheaper options to take advantage of the directional moves on top of our futures trading. So that's the combination that we use, and we find it very successful. So if you guys are interested in learning more about this, like I said, please feel free to send us an email, jeff@simplyderivative.com. You can follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Um, if you're watching us on Twitch or YouTube, be sure to subscribe and follow us on those platforms as well. We're trying to get out as much content as possible, guys. There's lots of futures traders out there. There's lots of technical traders out there, but there's not a lot of clarity on what to do and how to do it, and when to do it. And so that's where we're coming in and trying to shine a light on this trading industry, this trading um, uh, style, this arena, if you will. Um, that's what we're here for. So hope you guys have a good rest of the Friday, a good weekend, and it was a good week for you. We're going to sign off for today. We'll do a DRV, a daily video recap. We'll get that out later today for you guys, just to recap what happened in the day session, and then we'll see you bright and early next week. All right, guys, have a good weekend.